All right, I just want to confirm for my listeners who I have on the phone here. This is MC Virgo Don. Am I saying that right?
Yep. Even though we don't normally put the MC on, but it's all good.
Oh, sorry.
This is the Virgo Don, the lyrical sultan, lyrics like rice, style like sun, millions on top of millions for each and every one. Whoosh! I'm here.
I love it, man. Thank you so much for that. I was blessed to meet this man online. We actually got into a discussion about DJing, and we'll get deeper into this later in our discussion. But as a result, we sidebarred. We had a discussion, and I had never heard the man, and from that, I listened to a set, him and Groove Rider, and the guy ran the mic. It was amazing hosting set, and I want to get into your style of emceeing as well later in this discussion. But before we do, I want to learn a little bit of fun stuff about you, and I was wondering if you could share with me, if you remember, what was your favorite childhood cartoon growing up?
My favorite childhood cartoon, it would have to be something like Batfink.
What was it?
Batfink.
What is that? I don't even know.
It's like a cross between, I think it's a cat or a rat or something, and Batman. My wings are like a shield of steel.
I love it.
Yeah.
This is what I love about those questions. I learned a little bit about a person's culture and age at the same time, because I'm sure it dates you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if you could have any superpower, what superpower would you want to have?
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. I think I'm not sure if I'd want a superpower. I'd really like to be, you know, like in Chant, where the guy's a white lighter and he can heal people.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I'd like to be able to heal people.
You know what? That says a lot about your character, because that obviously means you're someone who wants to help others. Like, I give you the opportunity to fly or have invincibility and be able to do the most. No, you want to help people.
Yeah.
That's good. All right,
that's something that I can use, you know?
Dude, I get you. I hear you 100%. Some of the things I've heard as responses have been funny. Like, I'm sure you're familiar with Demolition Man, and he told me that he'd want to hear people's thoughts, read people's minds. That's what he said. And I'm like, really? You want to know what people are thinking? I don't know if I want to know what's inside people's heads, dude. I hear them speak, and I can hardly stand them. Can you imagine being able to hear what the thoughts of the world? But
you got it in one day. I'm not sure I'd want to hear half the stuff people think about me, and plus, I think it probably would cloud my judgment and how my mind works. I'd like to take people as I see them, as I hear them, as opposed to, because you have to have a secret place. I believe everybody should have a secret and private place, and I think I would personally feel like I'm invading people's privacy. Yeah, get that right.
No, I know,
privacy if I was doing that.
Very invasive superpower to have, and especially if you remember, there's that movie with Mel Gibson where he couldn't stop hearing women's thoughts, and it drove him nuts.
Yes.
Right, so it's like you can't just turn it on and off, man. You're just gonna hear it everywhere. So I'm with you, man. I think that your power is awesome. With that, I want to dive into some industry questions. I know you came from a different scene than the jungle drum and bass one, so I want to ask you, like, what was your first rave experience?
My first rave, you see, it depends on how you're gonna quantify rave experience. One of my dad's best friends, a guy called Michael Morgan in Jamaica, he used to go to dances. I'm talking about real original dancehall dance back in the day. And he's one of them guys who used to bring his ghetto blaster to the dance and take the whole entire dance. So you're looking at, he'd come out and he'd have like 3 90-minute cassettes and bring them back to his house the next day, and he'd be cleaning up the yard or washing or doing whatever he's doing and just playing the tapes. So I would literally just go to his house and sit down, so you'd get the whole entire experience. So I'd know what happened from the minute he stepped in till the minute he left. And that was days when I couldn't even imagine going into a dance hall. So that would have been my first experience. It's as far as just seeing and knowing what happens in dance halls.
How about your first experience attending an underground event where there wasn't necessarily a venue that you knew you were going to? Maybe there's a hotline or a map, you know, like the underground experience. Do you remember your first time going to one of those? Oh. We got a cutout here. That's what happens when we record live, folks.
And if I did, I can't remember them.
Hold on 1 sec. Sorry, buddy. We cut out there for the last about 10 seconds. So when I asked the question, I didn't hear your response. Do you remember your first underground event?
In terms of if it was just one of them ones where you get the number and you go, I don't think I went to too many of them. If I did, I don't remember too much about it.
No problem. Sorry, just flipping over here. Who inspired you to get on the mic? What inspired you to want to be an MC?
It would have been the same going up to my dad's friend's house and listening to the cassettes from the night before. That would have been it. And I remember listening to like these guys on the mic, and I'm like, ain't he gonna get tired? Because we're talking about proper sound system days now. We're talking about Jamaica and proper sound system days, and these guys were just dropping lyrics. I was like, ain't he gonna get tired? Ain't he gonna get tired? And what it is, when I was at school, I used to be in the choir, I used to sing and whatever, but the singing was good, but it wasn't as expressive as I wanted it to be. The dancehall thing was more how I wanted to express myself. Like, as you know, singers are great, but you're more controlled in how you can express yourself, as opposed to an MC can sing Jay, where you sing and MC at the same time, or just straight MC or play off. So yeah, that's what kind of got me into it.
And were these MCs doing the fast chat, rata chat type stuff, or was it more of a reggae style flow?
Okay, the first sound, because as I said, I was a baby them times. That it would have been Stereophonic. There's an artist at the time called General Echo. Yeah, as you know, the Peter King is noted as the person who kind of put words in that fast style. Yeah. I was told by Papa San, most people know Papa San, one of the leading MCs back in the days, one of the fastest as well. And Papa San said to me that in the days of General Echo, there was a guy on there who used to say, him named Donovan, and he used to do Donovan, but it was more syllables. And San said he used to listen to that guy, and he was the first one to do the General, because that's when he was General San. So as I said, people used to do it, but it was more syllables. It weren't until the British artists kind of took it and put words to it that it kind of took off. And then when Levi had the worldwide #1, everybody wanted to do it.
I like this. I'm learning from you. Some of the names you're assuming I know, I don't. So I would love to talk more about those.
Okay.
I don't know who Peter King is, and I will admit my ignorance. I'd love to learn more about who that is.
Okay, all right. Let me just backtrack on that then. Peter King is a guy who used to be in Saxon Sound with Tipper Irie and Papa Levi and Smiley Culture and them.
Okay.
And he's the one who is noted as the one to make it into an actual style, not just to actually make it into, okay, these are words and I'm going to talk them fast. So Peter King is the person who's credited with that.
Interesting, because for me, honestly, when I got into jungle MCing at a young age, I was told by fellow ravers that it wasn't even words, that it was more like scatting, that it was like a bit of bop stuff. And when I would dissect Stevie Hyper D tapes, and I heard words like, stamina, and when he would say stamina, I'm like, he's not saying sabada, which is what a lot of people would say he's saying, sabada. I'm like, he's saying stamina, it's a word. And then the other one was like phenomenon, when they did the phenomena, and I'm like, it's not P-double-R, because that's what a lot of people, P-double-R, it's not P-double-R, it's phenomenon.
Okay, this is, you see, there's a lot of rave history that's being lost because people it's almost like a lot of people think that it started when they heard it. Yeah? Sure. Stevie Hyper D, his background was reggae and dancehall. Yeah, so even like one of his most famous, what would you call that, chants. Junglist, are you ready? That came from a guy called Tapazuki, who did it. We're going back now, 70s. Mr. People, are you ready? That's where that came from.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? So all of that, and like That's the same Papa San who I'm talking about, who told me about the stuff that he used to do, like the syllables and stuff. That's Papa San. Papa San is the first one to start with the phenomena, 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 phenomena.
Am I right in saying he's saying phenomenon? Because I dissected that myself. Am I right? Is it?
That some said phenomena, some said phenomenon, some said that people have it different ways. But as I said, Papa San was one of the first ones to come out with that.
Interesting.
And then, as I said, a lot of the obviously, because what happened was there's, as I said, a lot of the rave history got missed because people on one side looking and didn't see it from the other side. What happened with even the culture, how even the jungle scene evolved is there was a transition where dancehall sounds started what we call juggling, where they were just playing music and they weren't using so many MCs anymore. Late 80s, beginning 90s. Beginning 90s is when like the rave scene started using MCs. So that's where the crossover took place. So this is where you had the people the MCs who came from the sound system background who thought, well, I need a mic. And they got into the rave and there was an open mic and they thought, hey, I like this. This is what we're going to do. You know, so that's why a lot of it transferred.
I want you to keep going, man, because honestly, you're educating me. You're right. I can't go that far back, and you're teaching me things right now, and I'm sure my listeners will love hearing this stuff because you're teaching us our roots. And no, there's a lot of people that I think you may assume know this stuff that don't. My listeners can shout me out if I'm the only ignoramus here, but I don't think I am. I think this is very interesting information. And how about other styles? Like, would you say that people then like Stevie D, for instance? Would you say he borrowed his sound from someone that you could correlate to the 70s or?
You know what? I can't remember who said it. Someone said it the other day about all of us who came up in this kind of MC culture. There's somebody who inspired you, and you must have taken some kind of inspiration, but then you made it your own.
Totally.
Yeah? I'm not sure if I could point to someone to say Skibbity took from there, but I'm sure there must have been people who inspired him. But Skibbity has made whatever is taken into his own. Skibbity is a great MC who's like, Skibbity has his own style. You know that. He stands out. He
Totally.
really stands out.
Very unique.
Yeah.
Well,
so
who would you say yourself?
Huh?
Sorry, I was going to say, how about yourself? Who would you say you emulate the most? Is there anyone that, if I threw on a tape and I'd go, wow, that sounds a lot like Virgo, like?
Originally, when I started out, it would have said back to Papa San, and that's hence why I started doing like the fast talking, because Levi did it, and most of the British artists, Papa Levi did it, and most of the artists did it. And I'm not sure if you must have you heard about like, "Me God, me King, when in Jovia," I inspired that one. But I remember one night when I just started getting serious into this MC thing. I was still going to school, and one of my friends brought me to this dance. It was Creation Rock Tower with this Papa San on it. Same guy, Papa San. And I remember they put the rhythm down. And this guy came out, but whereas, as I said, back in the day, it was a lot of syllables. This guy was talking about how the mum was arguing with her daughter. And it was words. It wasn't just syllables. And it just blew my mind. And the whole place went mad. I think he had to reload it, like the lyric, about 6 times at least. And after that, I thought, you know what? I'm hooked. I need to do this.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Like I said, excuse me, learn the history behind all this. Okay, I guess I can segue into this because it's hard to go from that into this. But you and I, the discussion we had online was regarding DJs and their importance amongst producers. Do you remember that discussion?
Yeah.
So can I just leave you, let's leave it with that, and I want you to explain your stance. Do you think that a DJ must produce in order to be a successful DJ in today's industry?
I don't think so. I personally think, me and a couple of my friends have been, we've got this thing where we say analog and digital, and I think there's a lot of people still have the analog mindset as opposed to the digital mindset. if the analog mindset is the mindset that you have to have something to give to people before you can excel any further in your chosen field. And then we kind of turn on the television and we see people like Paris Hilton getting booked to do celebrity DJ sets. So we know that's not it. You know, if and I think a lot of the rave culture has been caught and left behind in terms of the digital era, where in the real world, it's all about how many heads you bring through the door. So people don't really care. They don't really care how much you're producing or whatever. Most promoters in the real world, in the outside world, not the real world, in the outside world, as far as they're concerned, if you can fill the venue, I'll book you. In rave culture, it's more of a case of, well, this is how it's done and this is how we have to do it and this is the format that we follow and these are the people who normally work together, so we keep them together. Who's to say which is wrong or which is right? But that's why now in the rave culture you will hear that to get a breakout you need to be a producer. Where I'm not sold. I'm not sold.
Well, the question is, because I get the sustenance in what you're saying, but there's some holes that I want to dive into, and that is when you say that a DJ, you know, as long as you're bringing heads into the club, what does a DJ do to do that? Like sell his own tickets? Like what was that? You know what I mean? Like how do you say I'm a DJ that brings heads into the club?
Well, you see, it works on your popularity. I'm from an artist background, and if you've created enough of a buzz, you will know who can bring heads through the door and who can't. You will know by the hype that's created. You will know by the talking that happens about this person. You will see by a typical example. The average person goes online and will get say I don't know, get 30, 40 people logged on. I remember once I was we was in Leeds, and General Levy was doing a live, and he passed me his phone, and I looked on there, and there's like 143 people logged in. This is just a man doing his live from his Facebook page. 143 people. You see what I'm saying to you? So you know that man's box office.
He's got a following. He's got a following. I get what you mean there.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if you're familiar with the band Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
So I happen to follow one of his guitar players, and he sometimes while he's on stage, he'll put his Facebook Live on, and it's cool because you get to watch Bon Jovi live from their perspective, right? But
yeah,
I'm flabbergasted because he's got tens of thousands. When you see the thing, it says 10K plus. You know, and I'm like,
yeah,
how many people are following this guy? But that's different in a sense that they're following. He's a mass, celebrity.
Yeah.
Sometimes people will follow people for the wrong reasons, and as a result, we lose the artists, and we just get people like you talked about Paris Hilton getting booked for an event. What is Paris Hilton? She's not a talented DJ. So if just because you have followers and you have people that are watching your videos doesn't mean you're necessarily good. So as a result,
it definitely doesn't. Yeah.
Right. So as a result, we will lose talented people because we're getting people that are, I guess, able to sensationalize their popularity. My question then... Sorry, go ahead.
Go on, sorry.
Okay, what I was going to say is, what makes a DJ good to you?
To me, a good DJ packs the dance floor and keeps it packed. So whatever they need to do to get people on the dance floor and keep them there until you come off the decks, then you're a good DJ. And this is why, to me, it's kind of subjective on the basis that if you've got a genuine following, you could be playing whatever and the people will stand there because they just love you like that. And I think a lot of the times we want it to be, in the perfect world, the popular DJs are the good DJs, but it's exactly why they say the thing called the X Factor, wherein there's something that some people have. We don't know what it is. We can't put our finger on it. We can't bottle it up. We can't sell it. We can't teach it to anyone. You've just got it, and people gravitate towards it. And it's kind of money in the bank.
Yeah, and you know what? That kind of leads me. I like this because we don't have to segue. It leads me into the next thing I wanted to say, which was stage presence and charisma.
Yeah.
Do you think that charisma plays a big part in a DJ's popularity?
It plays a massive part.
Yeah, I do too.
It plays a massive part. Put it this way. One of the DJs who, whenever we get on a set, is bare craziness is Nicky Black Market.
Mm-hmm.
His personality just shines through, and this is why Nicky is so popular. You know, it's one of them things. Because in music in general, I've practiced this. Music in general, if you put yourself in the music, then people can't help but feel it. And that's where like this, the charisma and the stage presence gets in.
Well, and if I'm not mistaken, you're an MC who prides himself in your stage presence, or what you call your stage craft. Can you explain to me that art, how you dissect it, and what it means to you?
Well, to me, it's when I step on a stage, it's not just a simple hosting set. It's not just a simple MC set. It's everything rolled into one. I see my job when I'm on the stage to enhance whatever the DJ is doing. So my job is to enhance that. We're a team. The music's being played. I'm not supposed to
Oh, did we just cut out again? We did. No good. And he doesn't know we're cut out, so he's still talking. I'm going to have to pull him back. Hopefully he comes back soon. Virgo.
Hello, yeah, I'm in.
We disconnected right at the point where you were talking about when you go on stage. So sorry about that, dude. WhatsApp's not usually like that. And let me apologize to the listeners too. I'm sorry, guys. But please, Virgo, go on.
Okay, yeah. When I step on stage, my job is to, first of all, it's supposed to be a link in between the people and the DJ. So I'm the link there. My job is not just straight up hosting, straight up MCing, it's whatever. It's to entertain, it's to keep the people focused on the music. That's what my job is. My job is to keep them focused on the music, to make sure they don't leave the dance floor.
And how about when it comes to just the presence that you hold? Like, do you think that there's something about, once again, a charisma to an MC that's important?
The charisma to the MC is vital. It's not just important, it's vital. I remember, put it this way, if you notice, I'll put on my page hashtag closer. I've been for years in this. I've been doing 2-hour sets. It's like one of the most popular, I don't know if your listeners know, but one of the most popular events in London for the last 2-3 years is Jungle Splash. It used to be, I think it was every 3 months, then it was every 2 months. And right now we're doing it every month. It's that popular. Over 2,000 people every single month. And for like a year and a half, I was doing 2-hour sets to close, 5 till 7. And most times, you can check my Insta, my pages, most times at 7, the rooms ram as if it was 12 o'clock.
Wow.
So there must be something that's being done right for that to happen.
Maybe it's the drugs.
Yeah, but why doesn't it kick in when everybody else is, whenever they're doing it? It's like, I went to, I did same thing when I did 25 years of Jungle Mania in April, and one of the MCs never turned up, so I was on for 2 hours again, me and Difa. Again, that's on my page. People are singing at the end of the 2 hours. I had the whole electric singing along. Czech Republic, again, I did 2 hours to close. To close again, 2 hours to close. I got called back twice. These people, most of them, English is not even their first language, but they like something to call you back twice after 2 hours on stage at a close.
I would say it's your energy. I've listened to 2 sets of you, Honestly, Virgo, I didn't know you before we met online, and immediately I did dive into your music, and you have an energy to you, buddy. It's amazing. Like, I did have fun, and I couldn't believe I hadn't come across you before. To anyone,
Thanks.
Virgo Don is the name, guys, and if you Google it, there's a couple sets that come up. The first one, Groove Rider, which I'd highly recommend getting on. Just an amazing sound, and it's a high energy. I don't want to compare you to anyone because to me it was a mashup of things, and I would do no justice by saying you sounded like this or that. You sound like your own person, but obviously derived from a dance hall culture, and very strong voice, and I could tell a very strong presence. I haven't gotten a chance to watch you live. I used to love doing that back in the day, watching those breakbeat videos and just getting to see what the rave looked like. But I don't even know if they even still do those. Do they still do those on Drum and Bass Arena?
I don't think so. I'm not sure. Probably still do. I'm not sure.
I don't know. But big ups to those guys. I got a couple more questions. Sorry, a few more questions. What changes have you noticed in the jungle scene from the day that you entered it to where we are today?
I've noticed recently, the past couple of years, the change that I do notice that people are reaching out more. The jungle scene for years was closed. It was closed. It was a hard scene to get into, hard scene to get out of, and they never used to reach outside of the scene so much. It was a case of, hey, well, we're here, and if you want to see us, come to us. Whereas I think people are more open-minded now to the idea of realizing that, listen, at the end of the day, it's music, and you need to bring it to the masses because people love jungle. But you need to kind of bring it to where it is, just like how dancehall brought itself to where the hip hop culture was, and then the hip hop culture loved it and embraced it. And I do think that the jungle, as I said, I've traveled all over with jungle, and I've realized that people love it. People love the energy, people love the vibe, people love the style, people love everything, but you have to give it to them. And I think now one of the major changes is that people are willing now and open now to carry it further.
Well, that's great. It's more socially acceptable, that's for sure. One thing I will say to defend some junglists is, unlike other music, jungle takes an appreciation and an understanding of the music to know it. It's almost like, I compare it to like the baseball of musics, whereas, you know, anyone can like, I know you guys like your football over there, but hockey's a big sport here, and I say it's anyone, even if you don't understand hockey, you can watch it and enjoy it. It's a fast-paced sport, easy to watch. Jungle takes like a connoisseur's taste almost. You have to understand what's occurring within the music to really appreciate it. It's not just like a song you hear on the radio and it's either good or it's not. You know, some people think it all sounds the same, and to us we're like, well, that's an ignorant ear. So when I meet people that are a bit of a, I don't know, chip on their shoulder to excuse me, newcomers, I understand where it comes from. And I've always been like a very outgoing and gregarious individual, so I've never been a junglist with my chip on my shoulder. But I know the one that you're talking about, and I understand what you're saying, and I hope that will help us progress as an industry and as a culture, because putting up the walls ain't going to help us grow, right?
Yeah.
With that, I've got. Do you know what Mount Rushmore is? Are you familiar with the monument, Mount Rushmore?
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, no, I don't know too much about it, but yeah.
You know what it is? The four faces of the American presidents.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you had to create Mount Rushmore for drum and bass music, who would your four faces be?
You'd have to get back to me on that. You'd have to get. I'm not gonna have to swerve that because, yeah.
You don't want to name. You don't want to name names.
Yeah.
You're not the first one, Virgo. You're not the first one. You're not the first one to refuse that question.
No, it's back to what I said about being close. I guarantee you, if I name any names, it's gonna be, who does he think he is naming them names? You don't know nothing about. Yeah.
Oh man, you're giving my show too much credit for its listeners. I do not have enough people that would give a shit. What we're. No,
I'm not saying no. But put it this way: there's gonna be people that probably gonna log into your podcast and say, hold on, let's hear what Virgo had to say about this and say about
the four faces. And that is a question I ask in a lot of my shows. So if there are people who are like, I want to know what he said to this question, They will just fast forward to the end to get to it. Like, oh, here's the. But,
and then, as I said, because that's the one thing I have noticed about this scene, which I think probably, I think it's changing, but I think it needs to change a little bit more. As I said, the closed-mindedness. I love the music, love the people, but a few of the gatekeepers are still back into what I said about the analog and digital kind of mindset, where things are changing and things have changed. And whereas back in the day, you could sit down and think, well, it's mine, it's ours, and we're doing this. I'm not sure how that benefits anyone, because unless something breaks out, there won't be a trickle down effect for the other people to kind of benefit from the fruits from what's happening. It's a bit like, as a dancehall artist, I've done like adverts with Kellogg's. I remember my first advert with Kellogg. Again, that was a trickle down effect. It's a case of Shaggy had just done Mr. Bombastic. I think it took off. I can't remember. I think it took off Michael Jackson off number one and held out Simply Red or something like that. So Leo Bennett's and Kellogg's decided they wanted it. Couldn't afford Shaggy's fee. They decided to check Willie One Blood. They couldn't afford his fee. So what? Virgo gets a decent little change. I got like house deposit for that from that. You know. Mm-hmm. So I think we need to get jungle to that point where some kind of beacon, because I see jungle like an island. Yeah, and we need to get what they call them, lighthouse. We need to get a lighthouse with a beacon at the top to bring people. Come on, this is the light. Come to us. We're over here. You know, and that's when everybody can start benefiting from the work that they've been putting in over the years.
What do you think? Okay, what do you think stopping people from coming into the? It's not. Here's, in my opinion, it's not just people with bad personalities. Wouldn't you say that there's a bit of a taboo around our industry that goes into?
No. You see, that's the thing. When you go out into the wider world with people who just listen to music, they honestly don't really care. Just give them music. I'll give you a typical example. We did what was it? House of Common. Madness put on a show 2016. I was there with Congo in the Congo Natty in the trailer. And I kid you not, every single person that hit the main stage played at least 3 either jungle or drum and bass tracks or remixes. Even David Rodigan played 3 jungle tracks. And they all went off. So I know that the wider public wants the music. It's just that nobody's giving it to them. Nobody's on that level is giving it to them. We need to get somebody up there, and that's what I mean about the trickle down effect. It's a case of the only way for people to hear it is to go over there. It's like I digress, but it's like if you check the major radio stations, say someone like Capital Extra, then you've got a DJ on there playing Afro beats. You've got someone playing soul, R&B. You've got one specialist playing dancehall and reggae. You've got, I don't know of too many stations with a specialist jungle or drum and bass DJ. See, Hype's left Kiss now. Hype was at Kiss and Hype's left Kiss now. Mm-hmm. You know, so that's what I'm saying to you. We need to find a way to bring it to the masses. And if all it's going to be a case of is the people who know, we're going to have a situation where in 10, 15 years time, the people who used to go to rave stop going, and that's it, the culture dies.
Well, and one of the answers I think to that is, I can give a couple answers. One is we got to throw all ages events. We can't just keep doing 19 plus. The other thing is to bring it into the mainstream ear. I actually had a compilation album I did years ago. And it was to create a sound that I thought was more commercial friendly, more radio friendly. It had a structure to the song. There was an MC that had a verse, a chorus, a bridge, a verse done, kind of structured to a song. And my goal was to try and make a more radio friendly sound of drum and bass. And my thesis, if you will, was that if people don't like tomatoes, it doesn't mean they won't like ketchup. And if I try and shove drum and bass down people's throat, they're not going to like it. But if I can get them to taste a little bit of this, then before you know it, I'll get them into that. And that's what I think we need a bit more of is Pendulum did it a little. I think Prodigy has touched on it, where you give these people a sense of drum and bass that hits the mainstream ears, so they get infected subconsciously, if you will. Because if you just try and play bangers on, over here we call it FM radio, but on mainstream radio, people are going to want to listen to Sting or Bon Jovi or David Bowie. Listen to David Bowie drum and bass remix. That will get them in. You know what I mean? And
yeah, you put it right. Yeah.
In my opinion, if we saw more of that, more of the mashing of sounds and the blending of the mainstream with that, then you'll get the people before you know it going, you know what? Let's remove the David Bowie lyric and let's just listen to that beat. How do you like it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. You see, that's the thing, and this is what I mean about some of the people within the scene now. I'll try my best not to get too political here, but it's like that's part of the success of what's been happening with Jungle Splash. We've aimed at a younger audience, and because of that, as I said, we're around out. We used to do bi-monthly, monthly. Now it's monthly, and we're even doing a Thursday. We did a Thursday one in December, which ran on a Thursday, and it's the first one. I was thinking, seriously? But then you've got some of what they call the OJs, the original junglists. There's a few of them who refuse to come to Splash because of the youngers there.
Ridiculous.
You see what I'm saying? They specifically, I've seen people put posts up on Facebook about too many young people being at Jungle Splash. And this is where the problem's coming from. And then where that kind of doesn't connect with me, and I'll go back to like my childhood now. I remember the first time I ever actually went to a dance hall was with my dad. The first time I went to a club was with my dad and my mom, and they were saying, "Oh, look at that over there, look at that over there." So,
oh my God, again. Ay. Reconnecting. I'm sorry, guys. Here we go. Virgo.
Yeah. Where are we at to?
Your mom and your dad. That was the last thing I heard. Mom and dad, and then it disconnected.
Okay, yeah. I was saying the first time I went to a club was with my mom and my dad. Yeah?
Yes.
And because of that, this is why people still don't get it now that I don't smoke, I don't drink. I walk on stage and I get 2 bottles of water. So all that energy that you see is water. And that's because, as I said, I learned to rave with my parents. So the idea that someone's going to turn around and say, "Oh, there's too much kids in the party, so I never felt comfortable," I don't get it. They're doing their thing, you're doing your thing. It shouldn't really affect you too much.
Well, unless their thing is indulging in substance and they don't want to be around a bunch of kids while they're high on cocaine or MDMA or something. Honestly, dude, it's for real. Like, and I get it. Like, I don't like it, but I'm just trying to be honest. If that's what it is, then that's their problem, not the kids or yours. It's they have a drug addiction issue. It's something I'd like to see continue. Keep doing what you're doing because they're the future of our scene, and the trickle down that you're talking about. You're building culture, and you're creating a community that will be everlasting rather than one that, like you say, will become extinct because we'll just die off. Anyways, final question I have for you. This one I hope you'll take.
Yeah. Okay.
If you could put 5 items in a vault that would encapsulate the rave culture, what would those 5 items be?
5 items in a vault that would encapsulate the rave culture. But knowing me, first thing would have to be a microphone. The second thing would have to be a dub plate from Music House. It had to be from Music House as well.
Okay.
Big up Leon. Leon, Chris, and them guys from Music House. It would one of the posters, one of the proper posters with one of the proper posters with all the names and everything telling you what's happening in the dance. Get like one of the proper ones. I'm guessing you'd have to put a video in there as well, some kind of something with a video on it. And so I'd probably put a memory stick with a video and a track on there.
Nice.
With me, the video would have to be any artist, any MC on there, probably MC there.
My favorite.
Someone like that on there to show them, because the MC there is just unique. He's just like no one's like that. So it'd have to be something like that. Which and then it'd have to be, if it's gonna be a track for me, I'm kind of different. I would like, if it's from the rave culture, it'd have to be something like Pulp Fiction.
Nice.
You know, we don't like, yeah. So people kind of get it. They get it. When you say about bass, they get it. How much things have I got in there?
I think you've got 5, but you can keep going. I love hearing all these things. They make me reminisce.
I'm not sure what else. Yeah, that's it.
That's
yeah,
it.
Video,
close the vault.
video,
Actually,
audio.
throw Virgo Don in there and then close the vault. There it is.
Yeah.
We'll dig you up in 25,000 years, brother.
As long as I've got some kind of cryogenic tank in there as well.
Dude, and 2 bottles of water. But anyways, here, I'm going to sign off with my listeners, but I want to still talk to you, so stay on the phone with me, okay?
Okay.
All right, guys, that was him. I hope you enjoyed that chat as much as I did. Virgo Don with a lot of intelligent information about our industry, our culture. And I have to apologize about those stall-outs. WhatsApp isn't usually like that. I swear, you guys listen, you know that. Anyways, as always, thanks for tuning in. There will be links below for the sets I was talking about. And as always, peace out.